howdy, you delicious people. I'm here to review Superman and Lois, Episode 8. So, I want to refresh people to let everybody know I'm always honest with these reviews. I always try to be as honest as possible. I don't sugarcoat. I don't lie about how, yeah, this episode was another banger when, honestly, to me, this episode was awful. This episode, for the most point, 90% of this episode was awful. Like, really, how bad it was did not save up for the fact of the points that I did like. Where, really, they tried to save it by giving Superman another action sequence. Actually, technically, one or barely two action sequences. But that didn't make up for how bad overall this episode was. How really we finally had something for Lois to do in this show in a episode, and it sucked. I didn't enjoy the episode at all. Really, a lot of people might have said, well, no, I actually like that because now I can connect with Lois because what had happened to her had happened to me. I understand that. I understand a female connecting with Lois with her story, or even a male connecting with her story because uh, it takes two to tango, if you know what I mean. But I'm trying to talk about this in a very cryptic like sense for the very beginning of this. So, really, in this episode, we have John Henry Irons in this episode who is to be interrogated for a lot of it. Really showing us bits and pieces of time when he is in alternate world, which that was the only thing that I actually liked about this entire episode. I didn't even care for the action sequence that happened in the end of it. Really, I was like, hey, cool, we're seeing more John Henry items and John Henry Irons in his element, and he is fighting Dark Superman. Huh? But that was just so much a flash in the pan that you just got, and I'm like, man, that sucked. I wanted to see more of that. I didn't care about the rest of this episode. I didn't care what happens with Superman, who he ends up fighting at the tail end of this episode, because I'm like, dude, they did that before. I feel like that was an episode before. They just kind of are just tossing these people in here for Superman to have something to do. We need to have whatever this war is, whatever they were kind of alluding to, that there could quite possibly be a war, they need to get that popping. We really need to, have some, suspense in this show. We really need to, have, a war brewing where we're like, whoa, we weren't expecting all of this, instead of, oh, we weren't expecting this. That's what I felt about this episode. I'm like, yeah, I wasn't really expecting this stuff happening in this episode. All right. Wow. This is great. So, really, in this episode, Lois is to reflect on the fact that she has seemingly John Henry Irons in his life. I'm sorry if I mixed up the name. I'm going to say Irons for the rest of this episode, just so it'll be easier. Or Steel. I'll say that as well. It seems Steel is now on HBO Max, so go ahead and check that out if you have HBO Max already. Or bootleg it if that's what you want to do, because I bootlegged this episode so I could watch it. Bootlegged? That's not a word. I bootlegged this episode through another app that wasn't the CW, because I garnered not to... Why give them money, or why give them views for a show, especially this episode, that wasn't actually that good? It wasn't worth actually me downloading the CW to watch this. Anyways. Watching this episode... You get little flashes here and there of cool things, but it's we have Sarah Cushing and Kyle Cushing having a story thing and going on in this episode. That's how nothing this episode was. This entire episode was mainly focused on the people without powers. Jordan barely had anything to do. Superman had an action sequence here or there, but really it was either tied to Lois and her learning about the Irons RV within this episode, and then Jonathan dealing with stuff that he's dealing with, which made him sound like a wimpy little wimp. In all honesty, he's a very wimpy little wimp in this episode. Boo-hoo for me! Superman is all cool, and Jordan is all cool, and Lois Lane is just all cool, but what about me? Boo-hoo! Who cares, Jonathan? Join a karate class. Learn from any... Dude, you can go and train with Batman. Or whoever the heck. You could go and train with Robin. Whichever Batman character is alive in this universe. Go and train with them, and then you will not need the things that you say that you need in this episode. Boo-hoo, cry me a river. There's plenty of people that could show you things. AKA also known as John Henry Irons. He's known a thing or two about a thing or two. Do something. You whiny little wimp. Boo-hoo! You know what? Lois, I didn't like what was going on with Lois in this episode. I can understand people could connect with her, but yeah, to me, I was just like, man, finally they give her something to do. And it's this. It's this. No. Jordan learned a new skill this week. Jordan learned a new skill, and that skill was not a superpower. Wasn't that great? That was so fantastic that he had to learn something. A skill that he already had before all of this. Before all this show. He just had anyways. This episode was garbage. So let's pile on the garbage. Let's shovel up this garbage and review it. Let's go out of our way to say that we've seen this show, because we have, and go into spoiler time, because man, it's about that time again to spoil. Spoiler time. It's about that time again to spoil this episode. Man, there were so many good episodes before all this. So let's go into spoiler time. So the very beginning of this episode, we have the family all deciding, hey, let's go in the RV. And it seems that Superman is telling the group, dude, this can be a death trap. Like, how about you guys just not all just go into the RV? How about you just stay out of it? But instead, while Superman is away, because this family is just so curious, it's so... Like, Jonathan is just like Lois. She's so curious and up to no good. Like, we're going to consistently have... we're going to have Jonathan be the Lois Lane to Superman. Jonathan is going to consistently get in trouble, and Superman is going to have to save him, or Jordan is going to have to, or anybody else who actually has superpowers, because Jonathan has to whine and cry in this episode. We'll get to that. So, we are to have Lois and Jonathan going into the RV, and while Superman is off going and interrogating John Henry Irons. We have Jordan, who is to find out that it seems that Sarah wants to go and do the talent show of her school. That's her story that she's given. Wow, that's fan-freaking-tastic. Because I'm like, man, Sarah has to sing in this episode? How much time is she going to waste by doing that? How much time in this episode is she just going to blow by singing? So, here's the thing. So, Sarah is to go with her father, Kyle, to practice her talent show. Kyle is actually pushing Sarah. Get that? Kyle is actually pushing Sarah to do something and is actually trying to help her with something. Wow, what a great father for 8 episodes he hasn't been, but now has. Surprisingly. So Kyle is pushing Sarah to do this talent show and, like, hey, you were great at singing once. I remember that when I wasn't a drunken, slobbish father. So, hey, how about you go on and you like practice, like I'll play the guitar, you can sing, and like I'll be at your show, I'll help you out. So we have Sarah who is to go up to do this thing called singing, and her father is a schlub and doesn't show because he had gotten so drunk, so wasted, so whatever, that he's like, oh, I missed the track of time, because Kyle had heard from Leslie Lar, and wow, I finally got that name correct because actually, it seemed like I could actually find her in IMDb this time around. So Leslie Lar is to go to Kyle Cushing, and and Leslie Lar is to say, yeah, like I'm kind of disappointed in you, Kyle. It seems like there was a job offer open with Morgan Edge, but you supposedly denied it. And so Kyle was like, no, what was that? What was that? So Kyle confronts Lana about this, and Lana is like, well, you're not leadership material, so I I went and I told them no. Like I said no. I'm like, so wait a minute. So like, he could have thrown at her. It's like what? So I could be like the man of the house, but I can't be the leader in your squad of whatevers. I can't be hired at your place because you think that I'm not good enough, but Morgan Edge does. Hmm. I think I'm just gonna get drunk and not go to Sarah's uh, sing along thing. I'm gonna just be a bad father because evidently to Lana, I am a bad father. So I guess I'm gonna just and not show up at Lana sing along, forcing Jordan to quickly have to learn the keys and the chords to Sarah's song, and so Jordan is going and playing the piano. Evidently, Jordan was able to learn before all of this happened, luckily, that he could be this person called playing a piano. I wonder how long it took him to learn that way of playing. Probably a week, probably. Yeah. Hey, Jordan, can you learn how to play the piano? I know you're going to suck at it, but who cares? Like, we'll just make you sound really good. You can just like, and then it'll work out. So we have Jordan playing the piano, Sarah singing. Sarah sounds wonderful because, of course, because she probably had singing practice for that whole week when Jordan was playing at the piano. Or maybe Sarah had some album pop out before this whole show came out. So maybe she's actually legitimately a singer with an album and we never knew about that. But who cares? Sarah goes home to eventually be confronted by Kyle, and Kyle's like, oh, well, Sarah, like, I'm sorry. Like, I was a drunken schlub of a father for the 800th time, and I'm sorry that I didn't show up. Like, when I looked at the time, like, I knew that I was already late, so I just decided to just drink more. And Sarah was like, well, it's expected at this point, Dad. Like, it's expected. It's okay. Moving on. So, we have. Why did I concentrate on that story? I don't know why. Just to get it over with. So, we have Lois and Jordan who are in the RV. It seems that the RV let Lois come into the RV, and she was like having all kind of security clearance to just do all kinds of stuff in this RV. The RV was to like go like, well, like, yeah, like we allow you to be here, and Lois is like, I feel allowed. Let's go in and let's go through all the secret corridors in this RV to wait, he has a bed? A bed that flips over and shows us everything? Wow, this is easy. And Jordan and Lois are like high-fiving. Yeah, we did it. So we have this bed that flips over into a computer, whichever. And so Lois and Jonathan are to see numerous photos. It seems that uh, Irons and Lois are a couple in these photos, and so Lois sees that. We also see that Irons and Lois had a girl together, and so evidently that girl's name was Natalie, and that really affects Lois to the point of her just going and just, out of all the things that I've seen in this RV, I need to just go and talk to somebody. I need to just talk it out. And I can't talk it out with Clark, even though I was talking with him. Like, I wasn't really talking with him. Dude, this guy has told you his secret of him being Superman, and you can't talk it out with Clark? It doesn't matter what it is. This guy told you he was Superman, and you still cannot tell how you feel to this man after he told you, hey, baby, I'm Superman. Oh, killy dokily. So, we have Clark that mentions to Lois, you know what? How about you go and speak to a person that knows you? Like a person that knows your father, and she is coincidentally a therapist. Just go and talk to her. Talk things out. So we have Lois going to this therapist, and this therapist is like, you're pretty effed up. Like, man, that Superman thing, yeah. Thank God you told me that. Thank God you told me Clark Kent was Superman. Like, thank God, yeah. No. We have Lois who goes into this talking to this therapist at first, and everything sounds really cryptic of how she's delivering this all out. And we end up having the therapist going, you know what I think your problem is? Clark Kent is Superman, isn't it? and Lois is like, how did you know? And she's like, I'm just that good. So we have Lois, who is to eventually get on to the real story, that she is to have had a miscarriage. And the miscarriage was a girl. And a girl both Lois and Clark were going to call Natalie. It's like, oh, that just, that was freaking sad. But also, I'm like, yeah, but I'm just, why have Lois do this? Out of all the things that Lois hasn't done in a bulk of these episodes, the only thing that you could give her was this to do. And so we have Jonathan, who is going and seeking out information into this RV. He's like, hey, yeah, like technically, like Natalie can technically be my sister, I guess, a sister that died. Bizarrely, like Jonathan is like thinking of this like alternate world as technically being his. That's a little weird and creepy. Like eventually that Jonathan is going to take the side of Irons, Steel, that guy. I feel like Jonathan is going to like just turncoat and just go with Irons, because we have Lois, who is to be outside and Jonathan is just kind of doing things in the RV, and all of a sudden Jonathan starts to investigate, because I think he really desperately wants to find a kryptonite weapon to just you know, like, hey, Dad. Oh my God, that would have been awful. Like, hey, Jordan, you're getting out of line. This is a joke. This episode is a joke. It's okay. So we have Jonathan who's opening up cupboards, trying to find some kind of weaponry. And the RV is like, who are you, sir? And he's like, Jonathan Kent. And like the RV is like, I'm sorry, but you're not allowed into this RV. And so like the RV locks up, and all of a sudden like there's like these laser lights that start like popping all around. And so we have Jonathan who's like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. And so Jonathan is like scrambling to like figure out where he can hide in this RV. There is nowhere to hide. And so Jonathan is calling out for Lois, please help me. Help me, Lois. And so Lois goes out and is trying to help Jonathan. She's trying to open up doors. She's like, I'm Lois, I'm here, I'm Lois. But that does nothing. So we have Lois who's hitting the Superman button and saying, Superman, get your butt down here. We have Superman who is interrogating Irons, but we'll get to that eventually. It'll happen. So we have Superman making his way to this RV, breaking off the door, and then so Superman makes it in the nick of time, and he ends up blocking all of the bullets that are to fire onto Jonathan and just protecting him. And then he's like looking around. Ow! Superman broke his neck. Superman is looking around and trying to figure out where exactly he can turn off the power switch of this thing. And of course, we have another episode where Superman has been overly using his laser beam light show for I don't know how many times now. How many times has Superman used his laser heat vision? Like, it feels like they're trying to like come up with ways to have him do that every single episode. And plus also, we have to show that every Kryptonian is a Kryptonian by having their laser light show come like kind of like read out a little bit. So we have Superman who lasers this RV to shut the power off so the guns won't be blazing anymore. And so we have Superman taking Jonathan out of the RV, and so we have Lois who's mad at Jonathan because like, how could you have gone into that RV? I told you to only be in there when I'm with you. Why did you go in there? Because Jonathan found all kinds of videos about like Superman killing Lois. Like he saw it and he was like, that's why I have to go and get that kryptonite gun, because eventually you never know. That's why I think Jonathan is going to side with Irons and go on a hunting spree of his own father, which is going to be awful, but it's probably going to happen. So we also have Lois, who is like, Lois is angry, but also like Clark is like, dude, I told you guys, death trap, you hear me? Jordan is like, well, I wanted to go in there to search for weapons. And they're like, why are you searching for weapons? Like, are you thinking that your dad is gonna gonna kill you in the middle of the night, or what's going on? And so Jonathan's like, well, like, I don't have any powers. Dad, you're Superman. Jordan is whatever he is, and Lois doesn't have any powers, but who cares, because she has title of screen. What do I have, Dad? I have nothing. I don't have any powers. And so Jonathan runs off, all pouty and boo-hooery, because he doesn't have any powers. Get a karate class, buddy. Do something that will or should benefit you to be with this family. I don't know how many times we've had so many people that were tied to a superhero, like the freaking Arrow people. Every single one of those people, it's like, dude, I'm gonna learn how to shoot an arrow. I'm gonna learn how to I'm gonna learn to be a detective. Like I'm gonna learn some kind of skill. Dude, there was some I don't know how many people in Arrow were just like tech geniuses, and all they learned how to do was like computer things. But man, did they all of a sudden just dude, I'm gonna arrow up and just kill a mofo. Everyone in Arrow knew how to kick butt, but Jonathan can't. Learn a thing or two there, buddy. Learn a thing or two. So, the more you know. Anyways, pushing on. So, Jonathan, boo-hooey cry. Lois, boo-hooey cry. Now these two people have to combine their boo-hooery powers and combine together to make one sad moment. So, Lois is to pull away Jonathan. Now, I'm not trying to make a sensitive moment of any of this stuff that happens between these two because it's a story that could connect with people and could really just be like, dude, I really connect with this story and I got emotional because it can. I understand that. I understand it, but still, for me, I'm just a lot of crying for a Superman and Lois movie or a Superman and Lois show. I mean, so we have Lois who is to go with Jonathan and sit him down and to tell him the story about her losing a baby, which I was like, wow, yeah, that sucks. And yeah, Jonathan, Lois is crying, Jonathan's crying, they're hugging one another. Great. That's great that she got that off her chest and she connected with Jonathan. Great. How she could not have just done that instead of going to the therapist would have saved her so much time. But I think probably Lois going to this therapist was the thing that she needed to eventually talk to Jonathan about it. So either way, it's a win-win, but still, again, I'm so much crying in this episode. A lot of boo-hooery going on. So if we didn't cry enough during this episode, now we have to get to the action parts finally. So let's get to the Irons and Superman thing. So we have Irons and Superman talking it out. Irons still seemingly does not know that Clark Kent and Superman are one and the same, seemingly. You would have thought he would have figured that out at some point, but I guess not. So we have Irons talking to Superman, and Irons is like, man, I really have to kill you. I can't wait to kill you. You have ruined, my world. And, Superman is like, well, yeah, that's great and all, but, I'm not that Superman. This is Earth, whatever number it is. Whatever Earth number that you had. Dude, I've been to, Earth 2, 3, 4, whichever. Your Earth was different than mine. I am not the same Superman. And for you to be on red alert 24/7 that I'm going to be pulling the trigger anytime soon is dumb. But Irons is just like, well, you killed my family. You killed my dog. His name was Crypto. Yes, so you're on New Earth. Make a baby with a woman and be fine with it. Just plop out a baby. No one's going to come killing you. Nobody's going to come after your blood or your head. Irons, go and just make a baby with somebody. Make him find another Kryptonian that you're going to have a child with and just go and have it out. Moving on. So we have Irons talking to Superman, and there's just no real headway talking with Irons and Superman because Irons is consistently remembering every evil thing that Superman has done. So Superman was trying to Irons was going into a ship trying to just fly, I guess, to this other Earth. And Dark Superman was trying to stop him. He was punching through the window, just and using his heat vision, and he's like, I'm just gonna keep on punching. Is that okay? And Irons is like, yeah, go ahead, because I'm gonna just keep on making it to Other Earth. Here's the thing: why doesn't Superman go to Other Earth and fight Dark Superman? Is that not in the priorities of, like, dude, you went, like, remember, like, Justice League, God, what was it, Alternate Earth or whatever? Like, there was some Justice League multiple Earth thing movie where Superman went with Lex Luthor to go to another Earth to fight their Justice League, because their Justice League was evil and Lex Luthor was good on their planet. So why not do that? Why not go to Other Earth, fight Dark Superman, kill him off, and Henry Irons could stay on Other Earth? Problem solved. Well, I guess though there is technically an army of Kryptonians on Other Earth, so I guess it's a waste of time. It's like, dude, like, Dark Superman just wiped everybody out on that planet, so probably Henry is probably the only one left. He's probably the only human left alive, so that sucks. Because we have Irons talking to Sam Lane, and so Sam Lane is to talk to Irons, and so Irons is mentioning how Lane's died, being a hero, and that like, Irons is still trying to talk to Sam Lane as if he's Sam Lane from Other Earth, like they're best buddies and friends and whichever, and like Sam's like, like, don't try to play that card with me now. Like, if anything, like, we could have been friends, could have been best buddies, but now I'm like, you know what? Just doesn't quite. What you're bringing to the table is Other Earth, and Other Earth that is what it is. But, like, you're the only one from that Other Earth coming here, so what you're saying is just blah 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 blah. Now, this Superman seems to be fine. Like, he's not the one malfunctioning right now. John Henry Irons is the only one malfunctioning right now, so he's a threat. So Lane is taking care of Irons and not giving a crap about Superman. So Irons is to be put back to his cell, but we are to see one of the military guys go and take out one of the other military guys, because this military guy that just took down the other, he's a Kryptonian. And so we have Kryptonian Soldier, let's just call him Kryptonite Soldier. Yeah. Kryptonite Soldier is to try and basically just kill Henry. And so we have Kryptonite Soldier and Henry going and pushing along into a part where Superman cannot go into. Because Superman is talking to Sam and saying, like, well, like, I want to go and I want to help out Henry. And Sam is like, well, like, if you probably go into that section to try to get to Henry and to try to stop this guy, you could probably die. Because there's a lot of kryptonite stuff in there. There's a lot of kryptonite weapons. You could probably die from any number of those things. And so Superman is like, well, I gotta go anyways. So Superman pushes on to go and fight this Kryptonite Soldier. We have Henry, who is also kind of helping him out. And we eventually have Henry, who has a spear to Superman and is thinking about killing him. But Superman helped Henry, so Henry is not going to kill Superman. So we eventually have Lois, who is to go and talk to Henry and have some real reasoning here. Lois is talking to him, and is telling him, like, you know what, like, I get loss, like, I get that you have lost someone, and it's hard and it's heart-wrenching and whatever, but you need to move on from it. Like, take this opportunity to have a fresh start and move on. This is not your Superman. This is not your Superman. I'm not your Lois. And so, like, get a fresh start, move on. And so Henry is to go and get his RV back, and is to go and seemingly live near the Kents, but he decides to just go on a road trip, to just keep on driving. We have it to where Henry's like, dude, I'm like yeah, we kind of like have like a crossroads here between you and me Superman, but I'm not going to be your friend anytime soon. And Superman's like, well, yeah, but like we have it to where Morgan Edge is starting some kind of Kryptonian uh, war going on. It seems that there is some uh, people that Lana is picking, or that Morgan Edge is picking, that are going to, I guess, have Kryptonian people fuse within them, or be given Kryptonian powers and be given orders of things to do. And so we have we're having we're having like these people figure that out. And so we're like, man, like we need to like seal this threat. We need to figure out what's going on, or there's going to be a war brewing. So with that said, I'm going to try to get out of here so I can minimize how long this review was. uh but yeah, so Henry goes and just goes on a road trip and goes off. So yeah, I think I kind of covered everything, but I'm going to get out of here. Bye, buddy. Bye, buddy.